3, 2, 1.
Light them up.
I'm Paul.
This is Buck.
This is the Paul and Buck Show.
Hey, the big Buckin deal. Hear us. Download the latest app at paulandbuckshow.podbean.com.
So many variables that happen when you get on there and when you run. I didn't get to see some of his passes because we're kind of busy on our own. But
Yeah.
it was pretty badass. So anyway, so that's what it is. Hopefully this year is going to be good for us to bring out the car finally. It's been sitting in hibernation forever. So
Hey, it's the Paul and Buck Show, the big Buckin deal. This is Buck. Today, Paul is going to be absent today. He is recovering from he's got a little back injury that he's mending. So he's going to be absent today, but we have some guests. But Paul, on the next episode, he'll be around, so get well. And coming up. Today is the 6th of January, 2023. We're starting off a new race season. There's a lot of things that are happening, and we're going to get into that. But first off, I want to introduce
Jesse Garza.
Jesse Garza, man. Welcome to the show. And of course, we've known each other for a while. I think we were just talking just a minute ago. You've been in the area for 15 years.
15 years, yeah. I moved up here to the Hutto, Pflugerville area 15 years ago. Came from Brownsville, Texas, down south.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right,
956.
man. So the 956 crew.
956.
So obviously it was for work reasons, right? Where you
Correct.
You got moved down here, but I mean, let's roll into, of course, the racing scene. We were talking about it a little bit just a second ago. How and when did you You've always been in the cars, obviously, right? You're racing back in the street.
So back home, we used to, back in the day when street racing was easier than what it is today.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I kind of took a break, about a 10-year break. And then when we moved up here, of course, my wife and I, we had no family, no friends. We hadn't met anybody out here yet. And we decided to go to a local car show. And that's where I ran into Mike. That's where I met Mike 15 years ago. Yeah, and he had his beautiful Malibu out there, and started talking about what he would do on the weekends, racing.
Do you remember that? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, I sure do. We were just hanging out and see this guy walk up. We kind of met, and then we just started talking about cars, and then that's how we connected, And we just started hanging out, and then one thing led to another, and then. That's just how it all took place.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, it was like, was Mike like the first guy you ran into? I mean, obviously you've been here for a while, but I mean, at the car show. I mean, obviously there was other people there, right?
Yeah, I think what got me was his car. I liked the car, and I wanted to know more about it, and then getting to know Mike. Pretty cool guy. So I just started hanging out with Mike and going out of the track with him and.
That's all it was, right?
Yeah,
it's
that's
history.
where I started again.
Yeah.
So you got back into it, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with, like I said, we always say when the nicest friends you can meet are at the track, obviously, right? So it's always going to be the clique. But now the car you have, right? He's got a '67 Camaro. Everybody out there in podcast land, beautiful car. Did you have that car then?
I did.
Okay. In your driving, but like you said, it was just
a daily driver.
Daily driver, yeah.
Yeah.
What morphed in after that? Like as far as just
watching these guys at the track, and I just didn't want to watch anymore, so I went into a Yellow Bullet, found a motor, and purchased that motor, and that's where it started. And
so at that time, because everybody knows you in your car at the track, I mean, as frequently as you are at the track, was it like that back then? Like, were you like every week? Because I remember, I can't remember when I met you. It had to have been probably about maybe 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. I don't remember, but I remember seeing you out there at some events, right, every now and then. And
again, just starting again, being excited. Yeah, it would be every weekend, but it was mainly. I would just go out there just to go
get some laps and
go
run,
and get a few runs in. Well, things have changed from then. You learn it. You spend a lot of money and you're not
Yeah, it was mainly index racing we got into at that point. And then it was
back
all
then,
the time.
I think we started off bracket racing.
Was it bracket racing? I don't know. I can't
Nice
even remember.
South.
Wow, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess because, I mean, index was hot and heavy, but when you start looking at the events that, like we run, you would go run like the hill country, like those nostalgia meets or something like that. That was like those things that were like, okay, it's fun, bracket, but it was mainly bracket, I guess.
Yeah,
so,
bracket, yeah.
But index was kind of hot and heavy. And I do remember y'all running some index.
Yeah,
I know you ran your boo there. Your boo ran a lot of index.
Yeah,
It was
I
mainly
started off with
bracket.
and then I just got regular tree. It's just I'm no good at that. And then I was introduced to index racing.
Yeah.
And that's when that really got me.
Yeah.
I like
the pro tree, just
regular tree, pro tree. To me, I mean, a lot of people say bracket index the same thing. Well, I mean, I agree.
Right.
But the tree's different.
Of course, no. Well, like I said, it's a different ballgame. A lot of people got a preference, but so that got reintroduced. Your car, like I said, has been around now. Let's come back over to Mike real quick. We'll come back. So Mike, obviously everybody knows you, but where were you from? Where'd you go to school? You're from Austin, right?
Yeah, I'm from Austin. And I grew up in Houston.
Oh, really?
Back in the day when you could, go to Rankin Road. Everybody probably heard of Rankin Road back in the day.
Oh, so yeah, that was
a lot of heavy hitter back then.
That was Bad Boys, big money.
Yeah, it's big money racing, grudge racing, and when I got into high school, I ended up buying a '70 Z28, and that's what started it for me.
Is
more
that
or less.
right?
Yeah, I had a '70 Z28 and 355, had a Muncie 4-speed in it. Just regular street type car, but it ran real good, so that's where all this stuff started for me, the racing scene.
Oh wow! So I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so.
It started in 9th grade.
That's like more,
all started.
So I didn't know you were from Houston, but so Rankin Road, that was like the talked about throughout Texas.
Oh, everybody knows.
Everybody knew about Rankin Road. So anybody who didn't know that, right? What side of Houston was that on?
That was on the the northwest part of town.
Northwest part of town. Hard, man.
Or let's see. It's been a long time.
But I mean, basically, this road was just basically a secluded place, nice little flat top asphalt, right?
Yes. It's just a back road. Yeah. And you talk about some badass racing. That's where the scene was at. Houston,
Gotcha, man. Well, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you had your Camaro,
70
now through high school. When did you migrate to
1983? After I graduated out of high school, I moved to Austin.
Okay.
And just really didn't mess around with the cars too much. And then just later on, after I got a better job that I could kind of afford it, that's when it all started too.
Yeah. That nothing's cheap, right? In racing, right? So now with the Austin scene, right? You said you didn't get really,
Not right away,
but when you did start it going back into it, how was the scene back in?
That was back in the days when everybody used to go down to 6th Street and hang out and just more or less hang out the parking lot. And then when somebody started shit talking, everybody load up, and haul ass down to Decker Lane or Johnny Moore's.
That was always a popular, it's well known. The Decker. There was a few other places behind, like Callahan's.
Yeah.
And of course, there was some place out in Maine or somewhere that I don't know.
Yes,
exactly.
there was a. I don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know what they call it.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, so there was some spots in Austin area that people were going and running. So were you like spectating? Were you like
more or less? I jump in every once in a while. Not a whole lot,
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of just hanging out, and then from that point, just somebody would get together with the race, and then there they go.
That's it. Right, that's all it takes. So,
that's pretty cool.
Was the car did you still have the 70, or did you kind of go through like a?
Yeah, I ended up selling that car for a job that I needed to get some money together, and I ended up buying a little Mazda, and that was the end of the Camaro. But then years go by, and I ended up buying that Corvette I raced all the time.
Yeah, that's the one I
the Mustang meets and all that stuff, street nights.
That's the one I remember back in the late 80s, maybe? Late 80s into like the early 90s.
The 90s,
Corvette was it?
It was 68. I had a 68.
It was red.
Red 68 Corvette.
Really?
Yeah, it was just a little small block, 327. You know,
But it was fun. Huh?
Oh yeah, simple.
It ran. I mean, it
ran
was a runner. Yeah.
all the time. Just had a lot of fun with it. You know?
Yeah. So when that got, I guess, sold it or whatever, but at about this time, it's getting in kind of right. We're getting into racing, right?
Yes.
And where did you meet Bobby?
We actually worked together at Lockheed.
Okay.
I've always had an aerospace type job, and
Yeah.
that's where that's been my career.
Well, of course.
Up until this day, today.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're still in that field. So.
Yeah.
So So Bobby's probably somebody people know Central Texas here.
Oh yeah.
So
it's pretty well known.
he had a car that we talked about just before the show, right? But that it was a 6.6 or 6.7.
60. I think it's a 67.
It's a 67, but it's a
Malibu.
sedan. Yeah, it's a sedan. It's got a post, right?
Called Moody Blues, yeah.
Moody Blues. That was the car back that I remember. And so there was that time where I remember y'all guys kind of ran around, and I guess obviously you guys worked together, so
Yeah.
it was more of like a we're gonna do this. You guys were together a lot. So and there was some races some street races. I seen y'all guys not running each other, but running other folks there. But at one time, but. Anyway, so that's now, yeah. So Bobby and Mike, and they've had some cars that were was badass back when I remember at Little River, even at Little River in the '90s. One comes to mind is that '56 wagon.
Yes.
That car was fast for what it was.
Yeah, 1070s you're talking about way back in the 90s.
Yeah, this was like maybe
on the
early
motor.
mid-90s. Yeah, on the motor, man. That was.
Yeah, that was.
And that was one of your guys' cars. You guys had, I mean, I guess you guys always had your own cars, right? But I guess you're always kind of like teamed and tuned, and you do some wrenching on it, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah, me and Bobby became partners way back in the 90s, and we ended up with let me go back. Yeah, in the 90s, and then we got the wagon. Yeah. We raced that at all the Super Chevys, you name it. We went everywhere with that car. But mainly just, Little River or home track.
Right.
And then going back to the Corvette, I had the Corvette, and then I turned around and I traded that Corvette to Pat Price and Al for the Chevy 2, the 63.
Is that right?
I traded my Corvette, straight across, the board for the Chevy 2. And that's how I ended up with the 63.
Is that right?
Yes. And then I ended up taking the motor out of the wagon and sticking it in the 63. Yes. And
well, I remember that car running Super Chevy too. You took that car Super Chevy.
Yeah, we were all over the place with that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I really got the first taste of going pretty fast was with the Chevy 2.
So you had the Chevy 2 every bit of 30 years, probably.
At least 25 to 30 years, yes. Wow. And I got it from Pat and Al, his brother.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember Pat and Al. So.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So now, with all that being said, right, the history, right now. What was the funnest part of that era? What was fun? Because, I mean, it was fun. And it was simple.
Oh, yeah.
As to, now. Because I think I met you, I mean, it may have been in maybe 95 or maybe 97-ish or somewhere around there. So, and you guys already had the name. I was a young, I wasn't
coming up.
I was trying to come up, I guess you could say so. But yeah, you guys already had a name. And you guys already had fast cars, 10 second, because in 95, 10 second was fucking fast in that time for like a street car, tire, not an all-out race car, but a street car, all full body, that was fast.
Yeah, because back when we had the wagon with the 468, it would run like 1070s. Then I took that engine out and put it in my Nova, and it went a 970.
Yeah.
The first hit out from a 1070 to a 970.
Right.
Man, that's like I said, that was the first taste of fast for me.
Yeah, and that's getting it, man. Yeah. Like I said, in that time, that was fast.
Way back in the maybe mid 90s.
Mid 90s, yeah.
Wow.
So that was quick. Like I said, it was like, okay, you're running 12s, okay, 11s, but when you got into 10s and 9s, that was like a different story back then. You were fast, so.
I actually thought it was a mistake. I had to read that time slip, man. I was like, wait a minute.
You had to take a double take?
Yeah, double take for sure.
Man, like I said, and it was fun back then because it was street nights when you used to go out. It was always a street show. They used to have street like twice a month on Saturdays, and there was a couple hundred cars there at Little River. There was like a couple hundred cars there, and it was street. You had to be a kind of a street deal. So that was
mufflers,
it had that mufflers. It was legit street night.
Drove it over there.
Well, not them cars back then. We used to trailer them, but
but
the other cars, yes, we used to.
There was, there would be a lot of cars that would trailer in, but there was a lot of other cars that would just drive it in. And
you broke, that was it, man.
Yeah, man.
You had to find a way to get home.
Yeah, I remember when I used to take the truck out. It was we didn't have a trailer. Dad always used to follow me. And he used to carry like a chain. It was
just in case.
There was a couple times they called my ass home. So it was that's the thing. You didn't have a trailer and you broke your shit up Ship Creek. So but so yeah, that was the fun time. Like back then it was fun. And granted, racing's always going to be fun for all of us, but it was fun. It wasn't quite as you didn't have to be a whole lot into it. It was simple, right? You
just have a regular street car and just put your dial in at like the Mustang meets or the street nights and just have a ball. Just run your number. And that's how it was.
And you lost. Or there was the buybacks first round. That same stuff, but it was fun. So you didn't have to go jump out, put the battery charger on. This and all this other stuff. Just put gas in and drive it.
Yes.
But anyway, so. That was the period where I met you and Bobby and everybody else, right? So now Jesse, when before you came to Central Texas, now there's always been that track there. I've always remember the track there in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
So did you go and play in Edinburgh a
No,
lot?
not really. Back then. We street raced.
Okay.
The road was Billy Mitchell Boulevard. It was right in front of the airport in Brownsville.
Uh-huh.
And that was the weekend gathering for the locals. But pretty much, Edinburgh, I think growing up or back then, I might have been there a couple of times.
Really?
It was mainly on the street. Not until till now.
Right. Yeah, because Edinburgh, they got some events there. Because I always remember seeing Edinburgh every time we went down to the to the valley.
Oh yeah, we went out there once.
Yeah,
Thomas
Thomas ran that. They had a no prep there that one time, and I was out there with Tom. So I've never ran there, but I've been there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like going out there. I love going out there.
Because you go down there a lot.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah, of course.
I know a lot of my friends are from that area.
Right. And like I said, the track is. It's fun.
Fun.
You can run some numbers. Like I said, the way it's the. I've always remembered that track because every time back when I was a kid, families always go to the valley, go down to the to San Juan, the church, that other thing, right? So so it was always where's the track at? Are they running? But it was always closed every time we went down there. So I guess it was back then. Sundays was Sundays. Back for us, like in the 90s, here at Little River, Sunday was just bracket racing. There was nothing never on Saturdays until the street night came on. Yeah,
Tracksters.
Yeah, back then, if you wanted to go watch racing, it was on. You had to go on a Sunday.
Yes,
bracket
I
racing.
remember that.
Yeah, and then the street nights came around early 90s. I guess I don't remember exactly. I remember running there. I guess 91, 92, and then that's when the Saturday night started coming on. And then they never did have lights until that time. They put lights on the track. And then that's when they were running on
bulbs.
set. Yeah, dude. They had like drop lights. It kind of seemed like what it was, but it was like light bulbs. And that's how they put lights on the track back in the 90s. And that's how they were able to run street nights on Saturday night. And dude, it was like the first maybe 200 foot, 300 foot, and then once you get past like the 8th mile, it was like dark. You're, and then they had like and then they had like the arrow board. That was it, like win or lose, and that kind of light up half the track. And it was once you get past that, but it was dark. You better put your lights on. It was dark as crap. So, but yeah, so that's Little River didn't always have Saturday night racing. It was always Sunday bracket racing.
I think when I found out about like the racing at Little River was through like super shops back in that. I'm dating myself too, you know what I'm saying?
hey, we're all going to be at that age, buddy. So yeah, super shots back in that
super
time
shops
on Burnett Road. Yeah. So so that was kind of one of the hangouts too. Sometimes where they would get some races lined up because I never went. I mean, I've always heard about it back in Saturday nights. I guess hang out.
Yeah,
or was it more like when the operating hours of super shops? Like we always used to go there, right?
Yeah, there was a time when people did hang out at super shops, but I didn't really go there a whole lot. I just went there maybe a handful of times. But I remember going to super shops and finding out about street nights.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess that's the same thing too. That's probably how a lot of us found out. I guess now to think about it, because it wasn't like
there was no internet.
There was no internet. There was nothing.
There were flyers.
Yeah, exactly. They had flyers. They'd either like Awesome Performance or probably super shops.
Awesome Performance. The auto parts stores.
Yeah. That's right.
That's how I pretty much found out. That and then the 6th Street.
Of course, yeah. And we talked about it a few times on the show that the guys that were like killer on the street, like Dykes and Greg Wright, those guys and handful of others.
He calls me every once in a while, Lee Dykes.
Is that right?
Yeah, he sure does.
Somebody was asking about on the show, like, how's he been?
Yeah.
I think he moved out of Austin, right?
Yeah, he's not here in Austin. He lives somewhere like in the hill country somewhere.
Okay. Well, so he's doing good.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as I can tell,
is that right?
It sounds the same. Talks the same. Everything's the same about Lee. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad. Because his name's he was the fast guy on the street.
He was the hitter.
He was the hitter. And
what do you have?
He had a Nova.
It was like a 70 Nova from what I remember.
And then he had a Camaro prior to that, and I think Greg Wright's 55 at one time.
Yeah, he had Greg's 55, the black 55 that Greg Wright rides, and then I did hear about the Camaros. I think it was it a yellow or white? I've heard about it. I don't remember. That was before this Nova,
right?
Which the Nova was like in the 80s, but Dykes was in the 90s. When he would go to the track, it was like a 920 car.
Yeah, he was fast back then.
920 with the small block.
Way back.
With the small block in a full small tired Nova.
Was it like a 71?
I would say 70, 71, 72. It was that year. But when he would go to the street, he would drive it like down 35, doing like 80 miles an hour.
Yes, small tire car too. I'm talking about.
It was like an 8 or 9 inch.
Yeah, slick.
Yeah, slapper bar.
All in hands.
Yeah. It was like I said, we're talking like 90, early 90s, somewhere in that 95-ish range. But when he would go to the track, everybody would go up to the fence and watch him run. Basically,
yeah, he's one of those guys.
He was, and that motor would scream. And but anyway, so Dyke was the heavy hitter. Greg was, he was the contenders. There was a whole bunch of other guys that I don't know.
I just don't recall everybody now.
Yeah, there was everybody that talked in the past show. The Smith brothers, they had his dad was running, and of course there was. But anyway, so there was always those guys that ran the street, because street racing back then was pretty hot and heavy. You know? And it's just when you think about it, of a number of like what they run back then. And you're like, oh, that really wasn't fast. Other than like Dykes and a few other guys that were like 10s, but like on the streets, 12 seconds was badass. Yeah, I mean, that was you're running.
These are back in the days when I met Eric Tobar and then
of course, Eric.
Eric. Let's see,
and then
Cord. All the guys from Liberty Hill. That's my era too.
Yep. You're right.
And all the guys from actually Taylor too.
Yep. So Tovar, and there was the one he's running around the Regal, because they're always G-body guys. Tovar always had the Cutlass, and then there was the other dude, Dave Cave.
Yeah, I remember him,
And those guys, Tovar, they were Cord. They were back in that time in the 80s, 90s. So that's what I say they're OG from the streets. So anyway. Those guys are still around. That's the thing. Those guys still got cars. They all got fast cars.
Yes.
So it's still alive and well. It's just everything's just a little different ball game.
Older now.
We're older, and then stuff is more expensive. And
things happen.
Family life. Things happen.
That's
so,
right.
but they're all still around. We're all still in the cars very well. Like I said, and Jesse, You came up and you found the scene here in Central Texas. You got with Mike, and then after that you got your car and you started with that 383. Now back to you. Now, where's the path? Has it gone since when you first met Mike till now, I mean, as far as like
Well,
I mean, if you can say it or you don't have to say it, but like you've gone from, a street car to
Contenders.
your contenders and all that. Everybody knows you at the index races. So everybody, trust me, everybody knows you.
I like index racing. The thing about it, I can tune it, like we were talking earlier, I
Yeah.
can tune it to run this many numbers, it's expensive. You learn by
Yeah.
mistakes,
Well,
and unfortunately
trial
it
and
costs a
error.
lot of money to learn.
trial and error. Like I
Trial
said,
and
it's
error, exactly.
and I heard a long time ago if you don't, particularly in nitrous guys, say if you don't have a lot of set of pistons, you're not pushing it hard enough. So, but that's not the thing I want to do either. But for anybody else, it's like
I learned the hard way. But you never know. I mean, a faulty part can cause
I know
thousands of dollars in damage. And unfortunately, that's how I learned.
Well, I think we've all
You're pushing it.
we've all kind of we scattered motors before, so it's
Oh yeah.
it is detrimental, but like it's always like. I have a friend that says, somehow I'm gonna sell it, I'm gonna get rid of it, but then the next week it's back running again or something. All right, so it's natural, but the thing about it is like this is the only thing we know really.
Yeah.
I mean it's like
It's our passion.
it's what we love to do, and of course, like you also have your other hobbies, right? We're not like full blown, but I mean, but by God means, we're gonna do what we can to make a race if we had to. Like you said, you enjoy playing golf,
I golf.
right? So you golf. That's
Downtime
downtime, right? Downtime's golfing. Me, I'm chasing my son around or something, right? So it's we always got our thing, right? So but Mike, man, so how. Let me see. So how are we going forward? I mean, I understand, people may or may not know about, your situation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're doing well. We both are, because we talked about it. I said, man, it's been a while, since we see Mike since the.
Yeah, I had what they call an obstruction stroke, and it really set me back. I got a little bit of paralysis on my left side, from my wrist down to my fingertips,
Right.
and then from my left calf to my toes, I've got paralysis, and just slowly trying to recover from that. And I want to get back out there and do it. It's just right now is not a good time.
Right.
I still don't have feeling on my left side, so.
Right. I mean, it's all you get well. Of course, like you said earlier. It's something that's not going to heal. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, brain injuries take time.
Yeah, you're just not going to go rehabilitate.
It happened on my right hemisphere, so that controls your left side, and I have some brain damage on my right hemisphere, which causes the paralysis.
Right.
Because of the blood flow.
Right.
Obstruction stroke.
Right. Well.
So I'm just trying to rehabilitate myself the best I can, and hopefully I'll get back out to the track soon.
No, that's what we want to hear, and
really.
everybody wants to hear.
Yeah.
But it is grateful that it was caught, and I'm assuming you can when you went into the doctors and like say, hey,
Well, initially I didn't recognize it. I didn't like collapse or fall.
Right.
All I felt was a real heavy, strong electrical stimulation from my shoulder down to my fingertips, and then from my crotch of my leg down to my toes. I felt this shock. I mean, like you wouldn't believe. But I didn't have any symptoms at that second. I didn't. I didn't collapse. I didn't trip. I didn't fall. Nothing.
Wow.
It took like a day. And then my left side, my left leg.
Numb.
No, well, it wasn't numb. I just didn't have any control over it. So then I knew something was wrong, and that's when I ended up going to Baylor Scott and White.
Wow.
They rushed me and took Carey out.
Well, that's good that they were some heads up.
Yeah, because for anybody out there, if you ever feel like you have a stroke, immediately go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Damn. But now I do not, I know now. So when you go in there, your first priority, they're going to take you in before anybody else. So
your priority.
Your priority, because there's no time basically.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean that's thank God.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
yes.
so. But,
I'm surprised after a day though.
Yeah,
I know.
It's just like I pick up a soda water in my hand and it slipped right out, because I didn't have feeling. No control over
that's
it.
just like you click
So then all the little signals start adding up, and that's how I knew something was wrong.
Well,
Wow.
You know, the other thing is, like I said, you know, you're still here.
Yes.
And we're talking to you. And
Oh yeah, I still
like
have
said,
the desire, man. I really do.
That's you know, of course, that's what's in us. And like I said, that was going to be the next question, right? You know, is that once you're back to 100%, because Mike's got a lot of cars.
Yeah, I do.
He's got
several cars.
4 cars.
Yeah, I have 4 cars.
He got 4
Race
cars, man, and that's just race cars.
Yeah.
That's so. You're going to be eventually. You're going to be back out there, right?
Yes.
So I mean, so it's just a matter of time.
That's
But yeah,
the plan.
definitely get back. You know, get well first, and you know, everybody wants to see you back out because there's stuff happening. And that's going to roll into my next portion of this. Is that let's say like 15 years ago, right? Racing was just like, okay, there's an event this month or 2 months from now. You know, we're going to plan on it. We're going to thrash for 2 months, whatever, and go to this race.
Yep.
Now there's like racing every weekend.
Every single weekend.
So
Where do you want to go?
where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What type of racing? It's there, especially here in Texas, right? So the question I'll go back to both of you, is like, what's your plan for 2023? We know that, you know, you're going to do events around here, but talking to you earlier, you go everywhere. Wherever there's racing, Jesse's going somewhere.
Yes.
It's like he gets off of work and he loads up and he's gone.
Yeah, I'm ready. I already have everything loaded up and ready to go. I just get back from work and head out. But yeah, I guess, you know, anywhere there's an index race that fits my class is like this past year, like we were talking earlier. You know, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Louisiana,
Mississippi,
Arkansas.
Mississippi,
And of course, all of Texas, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll go. You know, we'll go. Me and the guys will go anywhere.
I mean, if they got index, I mean,
Yeah. And usually we're just the fillers, you know, for the.
yeah,
the
I
big
got
dogs,
you. I got you. Well, still, it's racing. You're getting seat time, but the other thing is that not only there's racing every weekend, but the pots are a little bit more than what they were 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's more. There's money on top of the entries, you know, depending on which track. Some tracks offer more than others, but
yeah.
It's worth it. I mean, you're not gonna pay your bills with it, but
Well,
we're
yeah,
not in it
yeah.
for. We're
No,
not in it to
no,
make
no.
money.
Yeah,
If
you're never
you're
gonna
make money. You're
Yeah,
it's the wrong hobby.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. So you're never gonna recoup what you put in your car, but
Yeah,
again,
you get your money back.
yeah,
Maybe a little
as long as it's always a good day when you get something back.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean that's the way I always
Well,
see
it's
it.
a lot of fun, you know.
Yeah, plus it's a lot of
you can
fun.
go somewhere and
Yeah, go to another
just
track.
get your money back and
Yeah.
be
Little
able
trophy
to run all
and-
weekend.
Bragging,
Yeah,
saying,
that's
no
it.
way.
Yeah.
That's right. So I mean, basically, I mean, so you're gonna hit whatever's available, whatever. It's no prep or
Yeah, I'm excited because you know this past year it was a bad year for the learning,
Right.
for trial and error, like you were mentioning. This year, I mean, as of right now, the car's ready.
It's working, right?
Ready to
Yeah.
go. So
I
we'll see.
well, I mean, like I said, probably the reason why I wasn't seeing you in some of the stuff like on, you know, what people call it racebook, but was because you're probably going out of state or something, right? You're hitting everything that was available. So, but I mean, I guess I did see you. You know, you go to XRP a lot. You know,
Yeah.
if there's an index, and do you do like the picnics, and the no sleepy?
I
big
do.
sleep-
I do the
Hood
big
to hood.
sleepy.
the hood, yeah,
The hood to hood.
Yeah, I haven't done that one yet.
yeah.
I usually do. I mean, for the past few years, I've been
Okay.
attending those events.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the big sleepy, the Kent
Yeah,
Williams,
yeah.
great
Oh, for
guy.
sure.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
going to the Bergen
Bergen Fest,
I
right?
love
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
It was-
yeah.
Unfortunately, I had to cancel it this year. I think the weather was bad.
Yeah, it got rained out
But
that
I was
Saturday. or
so
something.
pumped for that one. I
Yeah.
really wanted to go there.
And yeah, so Shane Bray, I mean, you probably know
Yeah.
Shane Bray.
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
know
days,
Shane
yeah,
from
for a
the
long
street
time.
racing.
Yeah. So,
Way back.
yep.
He had the red pickup.
He had the red long bed. Yep.
Yep.
I remember we actually ran into him a couple times back.
Yeah.
They used to go to Taylor all the time, so we used to go back and forth. But anyway, so yeah, Shane Bray, he puts on the Bergen Fest. You know that's morphed into a really big event, and
Yes.
he puts a lot, and he's in it. He puts a lot of their money on top. Hey,
Yeah.
and
Michael Hollis.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, Mike, yeah.
I've been to some of his up there, and when there used to be Denton.
Yeah,
remember
then
back
yeah,
North
they used to
Star.
do the Doomsday
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, so yeah,
He's
so
got something similar to that now going on. Cheap Street.
Yeah,
That's
right.
a pretty cool event because you go and they draw for the index. So you don't know what you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so you could be a 6.0 or it could be a whatever the index is, or they're writing for
three different.
three different. Yeah,
indexes.
so that's actually a good idea because that throws shuffles up the pot
I believe
and
it's
gets
off
all the
the
baggers
trailer
out.
as well. So they just tell you, okay, you run this number.
Wow, right off the trailer. Wow, that's even
No
double
time trial,
whammy.
nothing,
Yeah.
right?
I'm not sure if you get a time trial or not. I can't remember if you do.
Typically, and I don't know, but if it's off the
I
trailer,
think
then
you
yeah,
get
there's
one
nothing.
hit. It's one hit,
Yeah.
and then you go into.
But that is, man, like Chris Sievert and his, the WFO stuff. He always got something stirring up in the pot where it's just like, really, what are we doing? We're doing it. So that's always kind of a good thing, particularly like if you're doing like a off the trailer deal. That just throws off everybody. So, both you guys, but I'm gonna ask you first, Mike. So, the state of racing right now. When I say state of racing, meaning like, and I said it before in a lot of my episodes, that class racing is kind of gone, right? Index, no time, grudge. Mm-hmm. What's your thought on like some of those events? I mean, now granted they make big events, they bring a lot of crowd, but as a racer, how do you see that? You see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
I like index because
yeah,
the type of cars that I have, I'm not super fast like everybody else, so I can't compete,
Right. But index always it closes the margin, so you can have a chance to win.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you're out there competing against a time event.
Right.
You can't exceed 7.0, and if you do, you're done.
I got you.
Yeah, I really do. I really do like the index, and I've always liked the index.
Okay, yeah.
Back in the day, we had no choice other than to run just street class, handicap racing.
Right.
That was a lot of fun, also.
Yeah, but that did get to the point where, like I said, yeah, it gets boring.
Yeah, it's boring, but
Yeah.
no, I do enjoy running the classes like
so
that.
the index stuff, that's good. Yeah, and again, I'm with you because not only now, because before it was always just it was like, remember there was a 620 index at one time. It was 620, and it was always 580 has always been there.
Yeah,
It
580.
was always 620 and then 70, and then somehow
750.
and then it went to and then 620 went to 650,
Right.
and now there's a 50, 60, 650, 70, 750. It's like get in where you fit in, right?
Right, in where you fit in.
So the 7.0 was always that big. Always had a big turnout. Then like
That's, yeah.
It
that
still
was
is.
Still
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's the
That's the one that always had the
biggest-
most
biggest car
cars,
count. Yeah.
and you got a pretty good payout.
Yeah, because most cars
Yeah.
can run the 7.0 without killing the engines.
If you think about a 7.0, that's like a 1080 quarter mile. I mean, that's fast. I mean,
That's fast,
That's
yes.
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
11.
yeah, like 11.0ish,
Yeah.
right? So still pretty good fast.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like super slow.
it gives a little guy a chance to go
Right.
out and compete and
Yeah.
win, pretty good money. you know.
And that brings up the point to where the event that the Little River did here a couple weeks ago. Matt Tamayo and all those guys, they did the slow car class.
Yeah.
car class.
Which
that
was
was
a 650.
That's fast, man.
And then, you think about it, 650. That's a 10. That's a good 10
yeah, it's in the
second.
10-second
Yeah.
range,
So
quarter mile.
and how many cars were in that event?
42.
God damn.
42
cars.
42 cars.
42 cars.
Wow.
So that gives people like anybody, not like you said, fast cars. Come on out, right? Let's have fun. And
But then you have the occasional pro mod out there trying to run, the 650 class or
yeah,
7,
well,
slow class.
that's
basically.
they had the event that was they're putting draggies in the cars to see to make sure
If you didn't have a draggy,
they
they
were.
would put one in your car.
just to make sure you don't bullshit nobody.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm all for that, man.
Yeah,
'Cause, we race cars, in the 7.0, 650
and they're
class,
locking
we're
the
running,
brakes up. Yeah,
580
Yeah.
or 50 cars.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not fair,
yeah.
man.
And they're over there slamming on the
It was
brakes
a
or
lot of
something,
fun.
right?
It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
So-
I'm looking forward to the next one.
So to kind of go on, that's kind of where I was jumping into. So the events that are going on now, right? So there's promoters are doing stuff out of the norm and making, I guess, new classes, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of new classes that I've
Yeah.
seen here lately.
So there's like there was the stick shift class. That was the thing that popped. I don't know if that got famous or not. I don't know if they're just gonna wash it and move it over to the slow car. But then they also have like a true street class, I guess now or something.
There's a street. There's True Street. There's Outlaw Street. There's yeah, so many different street classes.
So they're doing a little bit of everything.
That was at Little River?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I guess everywhere. But
I mean, and actually, I'm a little worried because the last few posts I've seen lately is there's no index in there anymore.
No.
really, it's either like a
street outlaw. It's all steel, all glass.
Dude.
No time, small tire. And the thing is, I mean, that's where the spectators come in.
Yeah.
They want to see that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to see
Those.
the slower cars,
Yeah.
but
you know, and I guess you're kind of right to a point because it's always like you always see when the fast cars come in, you always see everybody going to the
exactly.
Yeah.
and then when the other cars come in, they're like,
Yeah, they'll go for a cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Little restroom break
yeah,
inside,
go,
right?
go take a piss or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, they go to get a cheeseburger stuff. But you know, regardless of the spectators, I see your point though. Some are fillers.
We're fillers.
Some are fillers.
This is you know, we
But for a racer standpoint, it doesn't matter as long as you freaking pay me. You know, you don't have to watch. You know, just
No.
yeah. So
But I mean, the thing is whether you're running 8.0 or you're running small tire, it's the same passion.
yeah,
Just-
that's what I mean. That's what I'm
You're out
saying.
there
That's what I'm
doing
saying.
it,
So
yeah.
like I said, as a racer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm racing for a win or not, or just to
Still-
go out there and have
yeah.
fun.
Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Loading up, heading out.
Right.
You know.
It's just
Right.
a getaway, you know.
Yeah.
Go,
That's-
Having fun.
go have fun for
Yeah.
a weekend, you know. It's expensive, but still, you know.
But that's the release we have. That's
Yep.
what we
Yeah.
enjoyed, and
That's our getaway.
I'll go even like a little deeper. Like so, even like when we weren't racing back, and I'll go back to the '90s because I mean that was fun. But we used to go to Navasota.
Navasota was the shit.
Navasota was like they didn't start racing till midnight.
Yeah.
I mean that was like, you know, they were running, but they're but with like the real guys from
That was
Houston,
the Houston area
they didn't come
guys.
rolling in the gates till midnight. I mean that's when the shit started going
Yeah.
down, and fast cars used to go down that raggedy ass track. I don't know how, but that track was bad. I mean it worked. But
that's where the Texas Outlaw Pro Mod started.
that's
pretty
where they
much.
started, right?
I think so.
really?
Dude,
Yeah.
it was that's right, Texas Pro Stock, and those guys were at that time for that track. It was kind of crazy. I've seen you know, unfortunately Bobby
wrecked there.
Bobby
Yeah,
wrecked his
Bobby
car
wrecked
there. That's
there.
what that was a track, and that wasn't his fault. But I mean, anyway, when you come past the 8th mile, the shutdown like it would go downhill, like
Downhill.
down into like one lane, and it was dark.
Yeah, and there was a pond, I believe, at the end.
Yeah, there was like a
Oh no way.
It was like a
Really?
tank. It was like
Tank,
a
yeah.
line of trees. But when you made that turn and go up the return road, you had to like play dodgeball.
Yeah.
There was like potholes up and down everywhere, knock a ball joint out. But that track was fast. Those guys were flying there, and it's like how.
That's some of the best racing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever seen. Was Navasota.
I agree. I have some old video that I posted up on one of my other channels that it was the Pro Mod Texas Pro Stocks.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're getting it, man. I've seen one guy there. I can't remember who it was, but there was like famous guys that used to go race there.
Todd Moyer.
Todd Moyer. There was a guy that used to run the Texas Pro Stock, not Texas Pro, like the street class with all like Tony Christian guys.
Yeah.
His name was Brandon something, but he had a fast car, but they ran Pro Mod. That's where they started from.
Like Brandon Pez or who
Yeah,
was it?
it wasn't Brandon Perez. There was another guy. But anyway, I seen a guy there run, and he like turned a 360. He got in somebody's fluid or something. 360 and like drove out of it. And then they're talking to him in the pits. They go, man, how'd you get away from that wall? He goes, man, I don't know. I just closed my eyes and let go of the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And the car just like,
It drove itself.
just like it drove
Yeah,
itself out.
I remember
Yeah,
seeing
it-
Frankie Taylor back in the day over there, and that's when he had his little Chevy Love with a big cubic inch motor in it. And, you know, I'm talking about back, this is a long
Yeah.
time ago, you know.
Do you remember the Herzogs? They had
Yeah.
that tan Firebird
Yes.
or a TA?
Yep.
That's the first time I've seen a wheel stand like carry the wheels probably about 300 foot.
Yeah, the
Seen that.
Herzogs, man, they were
Yeah, Herzogs were hit hard and heavy down there.
both brothers, right?
Yep.
I don't
And,
remember both their
Like I
names.
said, it was just like, man, that's where they went, and it was like, I ran my car there, and a lot of us did. It was like, I don't know how, but
Yeah.
they were running fast. So, but just the point what I was making is that when we weren't racing, that's what we used to go and do. We used to go to other tracks and just watch racing.
Load up and
Kennedale or Kennedale. Yeah, just load up and go, man. And it was fun. You know, we used to,
Sealy. We used to go to Sealy to
yeah.
watch the pro mods.
Yep,
on a
Sealy
regular
there.
basis, and of course Navasota. You know.
Yep, and so what other tracks did you hit here? Obviously Kennedale, right?
Pretty much all the
in Ennis,
Central
of course.
Texas ones.
Yeah.
We probably went to. I know we went to Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Memphis International over there.
Y'all run like that streetcar shootout?
No, we were just spectating back
okay.
then. I think we went with Cord and all the guys from Liberty Hill. We just piled up and took off. You know,
Yeah, just take off for rate. Yeah, that's what you did.
Yes, mainly just around Central Texas, all
Yeah.
the tracks. You know,
Yeah.
old Smoking Alamo. You remember that?
Alamo.
Alamo Dragway.
Did
So-
y'all hear about the
A new one track, right?
So is it the
old track?
is it the
Oh,
is
is
it the
it?
old one? They're just gonna open the older one.
Is
Yeah.
it really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so that was going to be a subject that I was going to bring up another episode. But yeah, so it's been on the run around on Facebook that somebody's going to open up Alamo. It's called a Motorplex, Alamo Motorplex.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I saw that, but
Yeah.
San Antonio. Oh my God.
Something, right? So it's basically old Alamo,
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
the
right?
old Alamo track.
old Alamo, and apparently the track is still there. It just needs to be cleaned up, and the property, it's by like the Toyota plant or something, right in that area, right? So,
So, yeah.
but the things that swirling around us, that there people are saying like, you know, is it a rumor or is it real?
mm-hmm.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Dun dun. We'll wait next episode.
Yeah,
we'll
next
see if it's
time.
real.
See.
we'll
I
see.
hope
But
so. And we need something closer.
man, because when Marion, you know, sounded,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sounds
dude,
so
that was
raceway.
like. That was
That
like,
was a gut
like
punch,
God. I was
man.
like, family a racetrack, and it was a badass racetrack.
Yeah, it was no joke. You know,
That
it
was that track was the big dog shootouts. You guys probably ran big
Yes.
dog shootouts on Friday nights, man. It was
that big dog. Little
Clash of the
Pooch.
Titans.
yeah, big dog little pooch, yeah.
Yep.
So that was a Friday night deal, which is anyway. We lost San Antonio Raceway, which was in Marion, but now if Alamo opens up, then that's just another fantastic place to go
Yeah.
run at. So that's even better. So there'll be more events there. They're gonna
There's more closer to home.
Close to home,
Yeah.
Jesse. So here goes the question for you. How many hours a week do you spend on the road going to tracks? At least,
On the weekends.
yeah. When you're traveling, I mean, because you literally get off of work on a Friday and you load up and you go to Edinburgh or you go to
Yeah. So
XRP or somewhere.
if I'm
You're gonna go to
working
Laredo,
hours,
right?
The good thing about it is I can schedule myself. So depending on what race is coming up or where I'm going to.
So I'm
that
working at
weekend,
noon on Friday.
and I know
Sorry,
what
guys.
time I got to leave the store, get home, load up, and head out and make it to the track in time. I mean,
So you schedule that.
Edinburgh. I think Edinburgh in Texas. Edinburgh would be my
Yeah.
furthest drive.
That's what,
It's
5.5, 6
drive.
hours, yeah. So dedicated. Like I said, there was a lot of us used to be like that back in, you know, I guess probably in the 90s, I guess. But I think the furthest I traveled back in the day was, I don't know. I mean, we used to go to Navasota. That wasn't that far. It was a couple of hours.
Baytown's kind of a far.
Baytown,
trip.
that's too damn far. I like Baytown, but I'll just be honest. I hate going there because it's right there. It's a long drive. It's on the other side of Houston, and like there's like that's just me, but there's a lot of chemical plants, and I always come back with like a nasal infection or something. It's like it always like fucks me up. But yeah, Baytown's far. You know,
I like
now
Baytown. Baytown's I think Baytown is probably
Well,
the fastest 60
when you I'm sure it is, but like when you think about it, that's right at sea level. So
Sea
when you're
level.
right at sea level, you're making power.
Yeah.
Okay, because when you come up this way, we're about 400 feet of elevation. Not quite much, but you're making power down
I
there.
had a few races this year where I was like negative 800. Negative
On
500.
sea level?
Oh man, yeah, that's sweet.
You're making power.
Yeah, you're making some
You weren't breaking stuff, were you? Probably making that much power. Anyway, so that's like the stories we have. You know, there's just a lot of stuff that happened back in the 90s, 2000, and then I'll be honest, so like 2000 came around. That's all it was bracket racing.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point, and even on my side, you know, my daughter was younger then, but like from like 2001, 2003, there wasn't really nothing going on. It was just like a Saturday night deal that may had like a little pooch or something, but that's all they had. And the only thing they else had was just bracket racing with like the slow guys, which we ran.
I think what kept us kind of like Occupy was like watching Rick Hilton, all them guys.
Yeah,
run, you know,
yeah. So
back in the day,
Rick Hilton used to run the big what was it? King of the Hill.
King of the
Hill? King of the Hill. That was the back half class back then.
Which is the one where Rod and them used to run over here. Remember, like on Friday nights, all the heavy hitters, you know, around town.
That was
what was that? I was like always on a Friday night or something, you know.
Yeah, that was
I forget the name.
It was some kind of shootout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was the other thing. Like I said, when like a street night came, they had like a quick eight.
Yeah, like
quick eight. Quick eight. That's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
And quick eight. That's what, you know. Because man, you know, Trey and Hilton and, you know, Shortridge and they were running, and they would do those quick eights, and they were competing, and like I said, that's what I'm saying. It was either watching that or you ran bracket, you know. And of course, like that's what, you know, I filled in, and then Little Pooch came around or the 10-5 came around, you know, Smallwood, and then all those guys, and then Riggs and Kyle Huddle, they used to come.
Yes.
That was like, okay, we're gonna watch that, and it'll pack Little River.
Yep.
But of course, when they would always back up with an event, it was just basically bracket racing.
Yeah.
And then Index came around, and then that's what like sparked a lot of things. Heads Up, fantastic,
That was
and
about
then
10 years ago.
yeah. I think
And then
you're
all of a
probably about
sudden-
right.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's
Well, it morphed, and then let's say 10 years ago, because that's when freaking, and I say freaking loosely because that's when Street Outlaws came out.
Yeah.
So Street Outlaws started doing their thing, and then that's where in the street, and then all the Heads Up, and then another round of spectators came in that made it popular. So the tracks and the promoters, I understand, they see it, so that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's in my opinion. I think that's where. I'm not saying Street Outlaws killed shit, but it brought in a different crowd and a different type of racing. That's where the class racing went away.
I think it did. It's good.
No, like I said, it brought a different crowd of folks in, so it made it popular. You could see on TV, like I said, it's good for the racing.
Right, it's good for the racing.
You know, but like if you're interested in doing no prep, which not a lot of people are interested in doing no prep. For all practical purposes, now the no prep kings. I mean, you make a couple hits, 2 rounds, and that track it's a prep track. It's a prep track. So, which is good, like I said. But when earlier Street Outlaws came around, and then like the tracks were like trying to find, you know, their niche.
Yeah.
And like, okay, well, I'm gonna start running no prep events.
Mm-hmm.
Like when JJ DeBoss came to Little, how packed was that place?
Oh my God, yeah.
So, and like I said, I understand the track what they're doing, and it's great. But like I said. Now the No Time, the Grudge, which, like I said, I've said it before, get in where you fit in. If we find a class, you know, we'll get in it.
What's happening now is back in the day when NMCA first started, they started out kind of like a street deal, supposedly, you know how to say it like that. And it morphed into pro cars.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened already with this MPK.
Yep.
It's nothing but pro cars.
That's all. $250,000 cars,
us,
$250,000 cars, yeah.
Right.
So, and that's where I was kind of rolled into some other events or other episodes was that for the everyday worker like us and that don't have deep pockets, you know, we're getting into like the no time, the Grudge, Index, shit. Like I said, Index got good pots, and some of the Index races got better pots than like some other pro classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
$7,000, $10,000, $5,000, even $5,000 is good. $3,500 is good.
Yeah.
Back then, when Index came around 10 years ago, what was it, like $300?
Yeah.
Not even $500.
No.
That's true.
And which was happy, but now it's like they got money on top of your paying, so which is great. And that's what I'm saying is that those events are what people are doing and tracks are doing. Every track you see, there's always an Index. Mm-hmm. I guess you said that you don't see that they're doing like a more of a street or true street deal, other than like a true Index.
Yeah, the races that I've seen coming up this year so far.
Yeah, so far
it's mainly
just like street and
daily driver, true street, outlaw street, small tire. I mean,
but they're not really calling it like this is a 6.0 or 7.0.
No,
really.
There's only certain tracks that really commit
Commit, yeah.
to
Right,
index
right,
racing,
right.
because they have their
XRP
racers.
is right. They
XRP
they have
is
a good
index.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Class.
And usually everything that piggybacks from XRP, the hood to hood, or there's always going to be index.
Houston, HMP, and Evadale. I mean, Index Outlaws.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
That's that group right there.
Have you gone down to Evadale and run those guys? The index class?
I went a couple of times this past year, but me and a buddy of mine are planning on trying to make this. They have a points series now, so
damn, that'd
they
be.
alternate tracks between
okay.
HMP and Evadale. So
Oh, okay.
we're planning on attending as many as possible.
Those are the ones. Yeah, you got. That's a lot of travel. You got to break all those.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's the if you win the points?
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I would hope it'd be something like a trophy
Yeah,
or a
they
jacket.
travel that far.
Really?
They
Yeah.
have a cash prize plus
okay.
like
Yeah.
sponsorship
Oh shit! Yeah.
items, and but the thing about it is the Index Outlaws, they have a pretty good payout. HMP and Evadale, just on Index for 7.0, I think they have a 580, 7.0, and I think this year they're starting a 650 as well.
Oh man, a lot of cars fit in
They
there.
have
Yeah,
a pretty,
that's
the
gonna be
transfer
popular.
money on top.
Yeah.
It's pretty good event.
That's gonna be that 650 is gonna hit it. Like I said, for whatever reason, I don't know why the 620 didn't blow up. And like I said, they like abolished that 620 and they just went right to 650.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all good. Like either way. But now, Mike, you got a number of cars. You got a car that pretty much can fit in
Any class.
any class, I guess. So. You gotta, yeah. You gotta.
That's just haven't had a chance to shake it down.
Well, I know baby steps coming forward, but what car would you jump in first if you're when you get back fully 100%? You know what? I mean, you got 4 cars,
I think
man.
I can answer that.
I know. It's like, let's see.
Well, I
here.
mean, I really want to step into Camaro. You know, the
Your
89
third
Camaro.
gen?
Yeah, third gen I have. It's got a pretty good, nice little motor. So.
Yeah, that's a beautiful car. Like
I
I
need
said,
to do
people haven't seen it,
some changes, like carburetor change stuff. You know, I want to take. Right now, I have two 1050s on it, and I think I'm just gonna go ahead and for simplicity take that shit off. You know, and
keep
put
it
a
simple.
single plane.
Yeah.
With the 10 or 1150 Dominator. You know, I think it'll still go.
That car, like I said, that car. If people haven't seen it, you're probably really not a whole lot of people seen it because that was the last event I seen you in was in June 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And that so. Anyway, so you would jump right into that one?
Yes.
Nice. Hey, man.
I don't see why not.
Go right for the jugular, man. So, because your Chevy 2 is pretty.
It runs pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I always ask, you got the big block or small block in there? Which motor you got in there this
right
time?
now it has a small block.
Okay.
But you know, it with a 383, it run down to 920, 930 range. So to me that's fast.
Yeah. Like I said, that was always
flat top motor. You know.
Is that right?
Yeah, flat top.
That was always the
and
crap.
I think with the heads,
probably you got from
sold from
to Joe.
To Joe.
Oh yeah,
I ended up with those.
Wow, those heads been around a long time.
Yeah.
Those heads are like 54 cc's, man.
Yeah,
so if you got a flat top one, they're track one.
Track ones.
That's the ones you had a package deal with heads in the intake because
you're exactly right because the manifolds cut down.
You probably got if you're 9-1 piston, you're probably like around 11 to 1.
Yeah, it's about 11 to 1.
So yeah, those heads are pretty good set of heads though. But
yeah.
So the Nova's fast. So you got the Nova, you got the Camaro, you got the Boo.
Right.
You still got the Boo. I know there was another one that was slid in there that I don't think nobody knows
it's
about.
A 71 Nova.
Nova there.
Yeah, 71. More or less a street car. That's how I'm gonna end up, doing.
Gotcha. Well,
Put something in there that is streetable.
So Mike's got a flavor for every class basically. So I like that. So, but the get right in the Nova right, shake the cobwebs off, right?
No, I'll get in the Camaro.
Get in the Camaro, just like make some good little.
Just see what 60 foot or further.
Well, I hope
Thomas always says I'm crazy because I just lay into it and just
see what it does.
Yeah,
see what it does, right?
Man, you said you were gonna do a 60 footer and you make a full hit.
Tell him, well, man, it felt good. I'm gonna lay into it.
That's right. If it wasn't moving, I'm just kept going.
If it ain't wiggling, we're staying in it. So, well. I hope that'll be soon, right? So I hope you get well. But
as soon as the weather changes,
yeah, man.
I know it's not cold here, but Still, you know.
Well, still, it's here in Texas, it can be minus one day and 80 the
that's
next
right.
day. So Jesse, I'll just kind of go into. So I kind of touched on it earlier. So how do you feel about the racing that is happening? I do know that you like it, and there's that good index race. But I guess the question I should ask really is that with the Street Outlaws, okay, I'm gonna change it up. So with the Street Outlaws, would you ever go on the street? Is it more? Are you strictly track, or would you ever go on the street? I guess I wrote that way. That was kind of where I was kind of asked the question to you. So
I'd go on the street.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about it just the other day, actually, when I saw a friend of mine go out there. I'm like, wow. Well, I've been thinking about it, but I'd like to try it.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, so just for you both, right? I mean, if you haven't been to these, I guess you want to call them organized, events.
On the street.
On the street now. It has its moments. Sometimes being kind of old school. I'm not saying I'm like a professional or racer or anything, but it was like it was kind of like, okay, I wouldn't you do that because. But again, once they start going and the way they have their organization, if you will, that they pay for security. They not like go to like a security company and contract it, but then they got a spotter, they got a guy at the end of the track, they got a guy at the finish line, and they got spotters all out that are communicating with the guy up there at the front. And now the street, it was like, whoa, there's a dip there, but that was my first thought. But then when you start seeing the guys go down it, I'm like, okay, it's nothing, man.
Yeah.
It's no problem. They get down. It can be handled. Just how you tune it. But to what you're saying earlier, what we're talking about, like I said, there's always those events that street events that like, hey man, you make a lick, and then there's the popo.
Yeah.
And then they gotta load up, and then you gotta go to another spot, make a couple hits, then they get. But this one was more of it was secluded. There was no homes. There was nothing around because it was loud as shit. I mean, they were making hits and it was loud. So it's like they weren't bothering nobody. So there was none of that. No worries about having to load up and move on. So they ran all night, and I had mixed feelings. But once you think about it, I could see any one of those.
Was that your first?
That was my first.
Really?
So that was my first.
Yeah, because you're nervous, man. You're out there doing something you shouldn't be doing.
You should be doing, and then once you get
fun.
Hell yeah.
So once you get those first licks down, and you see, and you're like, okay, fuck it. Then it's like, I wouldn't say it's like at a track because it's fucking pitch dark out there.
Yeah.
There's no lights, so unless you don't have your shit, it's like working in the dark. Flashlights, but I mean, the our friend, everybody knows, right?
Yeah,
so I mean, he came with the shit, had a big ass badass Milwaukee light, 20 volt, boom, lit up. So, but if it wasn't for that, dude, you're flashlighting up, and it'll be hard. But wash all that aside. I mean, it was the track work because they're allowing. Some people like to just do water, but they're allowing some juice, some pit juice, right? So they had some compounds. So I wouldn't say 60 foot, probably probably every bit of 6 foot. It was there, but you had to kind of control it, past that 60. But other than that, shit, it was a good clean little event they had going there. So I mean, for you or me or somebody, once you get that first lick down. It's just like how you're running back in the day. Yeah. You get the bugs out and kind of like back when you guys ran back in the day, right?
Yeah.
You get those first jitters out, boom, make a lick. It's good. So, but I asked that because everybody's got mixed feelings. We ask people like, "Oh, I'm all street." You got guys who just run strictly street.
Right.
Maybe they'll go fuck around the track and they may not do so good because they're all
Street.
They're all street. Vice versa, right? You know, if you ask me, if I'm track or street, I'm all track.
Yeah.
I mean, would I go out on the street? I probably still no. I'm still just hard, just because I don't. We talked about it. You know, there's always, you could be the best driver in the world. You just don't know what the other car, what they're gonna do. But if I were to go on the street, I would just build a totally different car. Right?
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that can happen. I mean, you can wreck, hurt
Stuff,
somebody.
if somebody hit you, wreck. You know, somebody may get injured. You know, doing whatever. There's just so much things.
I can remember back.
I don't know if the reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's the thing. You know.
Yeah.
So. You know, I think this weekend it was a $500 buy and they had 16 cars. It was $8,000.
Wow.
$8,000. So
Well,
that always like
that's
yeah. So but there's fast guys. There's we talked about the Central Texas guys.
Yeah, these guys are they're moving.
They're moving and they got it figured out because that's all they do. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all they do. They test on the street, so they know. But you know. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, most likely I wouldn't risk it.
Yeah,
just not me.
Yeah, I mean, it is like you said. There's so many things that can happen. You know.
Yeah, I remember being at street races where there's people lined up all the way down the damn track or the street.
Yeah,
you know?
street.
And what happens if you get out of control and you mow over? Maybe
take out a
4
couple
or 5,
people.
you know?
And it's what do you call it?
That's it.
That's it. It's
you're done.
You know, and you know, there's events that happen like that. There's people spectating, and somebody. I mean, anything can happen. A tire can pop. You can get antifreeze or fluid leak on your tire, and you know, there's just
hang
so
a
much
tire off the road. You know.
Yeah, there's so much of stuff that can happen. So, like I said, in my point was like, even when you're doing a burnout, I mean, they're
crowd.
They're right there. I mean, what if you hook and take somebody? You know, so there's just all that liability, which you know, it's dangerous in a way. Like I said, you know, if you were to ask me right now, would I do it? I probably wouldn't. It would, if that was like the only thing that was going on. Like I said, I would build another car and try to do something. But I would try to do it at more of a. If it was gonna be on the street, I would at least have like a freaking 4-lane instead of like a little 2-lane country road. Because that's what it was.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what it was.
On the road.
Yeah, but again, they're doing it. I mean, so why can't we? But you know, it's
true.
like. But to your point, it's like, why risk it? You know. So but. It is, and we just asked that question because the way sometimes the racing is going, street racing back then was happening, but it wasn't quite as big as it is now, because you know I go back to like Street Outlaws, it's a different crowd, and those cars are purposely built for that shit. Mm-hmm. You know, like mine, yours, your cars, they're built not quite like that for track. So, you know. By all means, we could probably do it if we go out and test and do what we got to do, but it's a matter of taking that risk. But I do like your point. Is like if you want to try it, and shit, I'll probably try it, but like just me and see what it does. Like I'm gonna make this a one hit. If I get down, then if I feel comfortable, bam, 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 good, nice, smooth road, then you know it might be a different story. Like saying, hey, I got a contender here, we can go play. But but like I said, some of those races were like really tight. And again, I'm not knocking those guys. Because they got their shit squared and they do what they got to do and they make power, they get it down and they win money and all that stuff. But anything can happen. Right?
That's true.
Anything can happen. But I do like that you know that we're not like new faces to the game. We've been around. We've been running cars for a long time. You know, everybody else and you know, like I said, I'm not saying none of us here are perfect, but like I said, those guys do what they got to do. But anyway, anything else you guys want to conclude? Like I said, where do you see racing going at in the future, Jesse? You see it getting bigger, or?
I see it getting bigger.
Yeah.
I see it growing. It's growing. There's more classes they're trying to include.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to fit anybody in.
That is a good point. You see all these different classes we talk about. They're trying to make these other things to make it work.
Classes and the crowds of spectators are. You know, again, Street Outlaws now. They want to see. They want to just, as long as they see somebody going down the track, and there's a certain person that likes a certain class.
Right.
That's always
Yeah.
going to be there.
Right. Yeah, you're right there. Like I said, that's a good point. Like I said, everybody wants something, and they all got a niche for one thing.
Right.
And man, street outlaws, the no prep queens, those stands are packed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Like I said, I see that as being a good crowd. Will it more for it? Because even now here in Central Texas, our local tracks, I mean, when there's a big event, they bring the
Oh,
people
yeah.
in.
They
And that's the other thing that brought up. I said, I don't understand why, I'm not saying that, but our local, why there's not something going on like at least once a month.
Yeah.
Something
The
big.
thing that changed for me was that when I used to go to the track, like you said, on Sundays was dragsters, and bikes
and
all that.
roasters and
You
whatnot.
don't see that no more.
Yeah.
When was the last time you seen a dragster go down the track?
Yeah,
you know?
it's been a
all
hot minute.
just all
So now
cars.
it's all the cars now. So that's a good point. So you know where everything switched, because even people who do bracket racing, if you go to a bracket race, it's dwindled. I mean, there's not.
Yep.
I mean, people still die hard bracket race. Don't get me wrong, it's still there, but it's not like how it was before, because that was the only thing that was there.
Yeah.
So, but now you got everything else, and now you see bracket racers coming into index.
Index.
Yeah.
And they do good, and they know where the popularity is now, so they're jumping over. So, Mike, what do you see the future racing? You see it getting bigger, or it's only getting bigger, right?
It's specialty racing now. You know,
That's good. That's a
it's
good way of putting
specialty
it.
racing nowadays. You know, you have to fit into a class.
Yeah.
Like me, I personally don't see myself going higher up with the cars that I have. You know, maybe with one car, but
Yeah.
the other cars that I have are just like, you know, index racing,
Right.
that kind of thing. you know,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's
yeah, I do see it getting bigger. and
Yeah,
bigger.
uh,
But the thing is, the damn tracks start closing around here. So, you know.
that's yeah. We had San Antonio, and then I guess next year maybe Houston. I guess I don't know how that.
Something like that.
Something-
Baytown.
Baytown, yeah. Like I said, it was supposed to be this year, but somehow
Yeah, something happened.
something happened where they extended a couple years. So, but that's a damn good point. But hopefully, like I said, if we talk about the San Antonio one open up,
Yeah.
that's a good thing. But yeah, if tracks keep closing, then that's gonna suck. But
I mean, like for us, when I was racing here the last couple of years, I mean, we'd have to travel, you know, all the way to Denton.
Yeah.
Where was it? Extreme.
yeah,
So, you know, it's quite a bit of a, you know,
well, and
a travel and expense. You
an
know?
expense, especially when the gas shot up in diesel there,
Yeah.
last year, whatever. That it ain't no joke. Not only that, everybody knows this, right? But not only you putting in your travel, you got your generators, you got your race car, you got fuel, and
$10, $12 for racing fuel
for
per
racing
gallon.
fuel.
You know,
Yeah. So I mean, you're right, especially, and that's what I was.
Right now.
Is
It's
it?
20? It's $16 or $20 a
Holy
gallon.
shit.
Right now.
That shit hit the racing
It's
fuel too.
freaking
Damn,
crazy.
see, I haven't bought
It's
racing
insane.
fuel in forever because
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Yeah.
So the point being is like, man, that's why our local, we need to have something locally, man, to where there should be
Yeah.
something going on once a month at least. But
It's, you know, maybe if somebody would, you know, come up and rent a damn airport or something for once a month or once every so often, and then of course, you know,
Dude,
I bet
yeah.
it'd be packed, man.
yeah, man, you can make your own shit, and then like it'd be like a your own
Legitimate
event,
deal, yeah.
legitimate deal. Where's a vacant airport at?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We're the closest one.
Yeah,
to
look.
Taylor.
Yeah,
Oh,
they get their money and then the
Make them
promoter
happy, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh, dude, that'd bring everybody out of the woodwork. Shit,
Yeah.
that place would be slam packed.
yeah. In Dawson area.
Yeah.
You know? Shit.
Hey, got the ideas stirring here. We're brainstorming.
I know
so.
somebody around here can do it.
Hell yeah. I mean, that'll be like, and then it'll make maybe somebody down the road, they're like reconsider, like, oh shit,
Yeah.
we need to start doing something too because this is easy, right? So, by all means, like I said, I like all the ideas. I like the stories. Like I said, I mean, we probably could go on forever and talk for our hours about
Yeah.
the days and times back in the 90s or 20.
I'm
2000s.
just glad to be part of it, you know.
Well, I'm glad you came here, Mike, and I'm glad you're doing well. Like I said, and
Yeah, me
Jesse,
too.
appreciate you
Yeah.
guys coming out, man. Like I said, it was.
Absolutely.
I know we try to get together a few other times, like we were always busy, but we try to keep stuff lined up and people coming in. So, and maybe sometimes when you guys are free, maybe come back. You
Yeah,
know, I
just
don't know.
let us know. We'll-
Yeah, definitely. I'll let you
Schedule
guys
us
know.
a
I need
time.
to get your phone number again, but I think
Yeah.
I misdialed one number. So,
Well, thanks for the invite.
yeah, man,
Yeah,
well, I
that-
appreciate
had a
it.
great
And
time.
like I said, that's going to be something we're going to probably doing continuously, and we can all get together and just bullshit. But we have some guys lined up in the next few weeks. But you guys be on the lookout for this episode. It'll probably be out by this coming Monday.
Okay.
So the 8th, I believe, or the 9th, I'm sorry. So again, appreciate it, guys. But we're going to wrap it up today. And again, thanks, Jesse and Mike. And you guys make sure to go to the Paul and Buck Show, Big Buckin' Deal on Spotify. And listen to this episode. We'll have more coming up. So we're going to wrap it up. You guys say peace.
All right.
And
Peace out.
we'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a good one.
Thank you.